How's everybody doing?
Good to be here.
It is a pleasure to be here today on a day that, any Dodger fans in the house? On a day that the Dodgers can clinch the division for the 7th straight year. They're in Baltimore today. Magic number is 1. And it is a pleasure to be here with Adrian Gonzales, who had an incredible career in Major League Baseball. I still remember, Adrian, that first game with the Dodgers. He came over from the Red Sox. And I believe you just came from the airport. It was a whirlwind day, your very first at-bat. What does he do? He hits a home run.
I got lucky.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was that day like?
I mean, like you said, it was a whirlwind. It was we heard about the trade the night before. A couple things had to happen for them to get finalized that morning, East Coast time. This was before anybody woke up here on the West Coast. And so once those things got finalized, they had the plane ready. We had all our bags packed, ready to go. And we jumped in the plane. It was a Saturday. It was a 6 o'clock game here. But I always like to tell people that it's amazing that, all this thing happened in the first at-bat. I hit a home run, but I was really disappointed in my next 3 because I struck out my next 3 at-bats. Nobody remembers that.
No one remembers that except you.
But we won the game, which is what matters. So, yeah, it was a great day overall.
Of course, the Dodgers have made the World Series the last 2 years. Hopefully, they can make it for a 3rd year. If they do, Are you confident that this is it, the 3rd time's the charm?
You know what? Baseball, every sport, the point is to make it, right?
Yeah.
Once you make it, you never know the team that plays the best that series or that game, whether you're talking, football or baseball, basketball, whoever plays the best that series is going to win.
Mm-hmm.
And, so at that point, all that matters is that they make it again. And, after that, be able to get over that hump so they can win.
My last baseball question to you before we get into the important stuff about your foundation, the home runs this year. You've hit a number of home runs in your career, but how do you explain what's happening in Major League Baseball this year?
Well, a lot of people are talking about the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know if the ball has as much. Obviously, I'm not playing, so I don't know what the difference is in the ball. I know I did had a conversation with Jerry Hairston not too long ago, and he said that he hit a ball in the alumni game, the one that they have, the Veterans game, and he didn't think it should have been the home run, and they went over the fence.
Really?
So
he thought he popped it
He's
up.
claiming it's the ball.
Yeah.
But I mean, the styles have changed. Pitchers are throwing higher pitches. They're looking more for a strikeout, and they don't care to give up a solo homer. So hitters are aiming more for home runs and less for singles and those type of things. So the game has changed. People are claiming it's the ball. It could be a little bit of everything.
Well, Adrian and his wife, Betsy, have hit a home run off the field with their foundation. Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you.
Tell people why you wanted to start the foundation in the first place. And I want to preface that by saying I really congratulate a lot of celebrities, athletes who use their name and their celebrity to do so many good things in the community.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I don't know if going back, so my wife and myself, we met in middle school, high school sweethearts, and throughout our courting or dating, the 4 years that we were dating before we were married, we always talked about these things that we wanted to do in the future. She always wanted to have an orphanage. I come from a family that is very giving and always was looking to help family, cousins, friends, anybody that was in need. So I had a great example from my parents. My wife Betsy had a great example from her parents. So always going into marriage, we always talked about wanting to have some sort of either helping an orphanage, partnering with an orphanage, or having some sort of help for foundation. So I was lucky and fortunate enough that I was given the platform of baseball and the ability to be able to take those thoughts and create them and be able to have our own foundation. And so when we had that opportunity in 2008, while I was playing for the Padres, we were able to create our foundation. We focus in empowering underprivileged youth in academics, athletics, and health. And we're always looking for different ways that we can help. Initially, we started off by having a few events here and there in San Diego. And then as we were moved from city to city, it became easier to just partner with local foundations or groups that were really good at bringing all these other foundations and groups that were doing great work in the community and just partnering with them and doing it that way rather than trying to figure out a way to do an event. So that's what we've been doing. Since we went to Boston, we had scholarships in Boston for 3 years, 3 different classes, and then here in LA we've had scholarships. I mean, we're so fortunate. We have close to 100 kids that we've given scholarships to now, and then also all the help that we've done with health and athletics.
Now that you're retired, you can focus a little more on the foundation. Have you found it that it's beneficial to have all this time to grow the foundation?
Well, a lot of the things, again, we like to partner, so we're able to find those great groups. I know I was just talking to Renata in the back, one of the great groups is an organization called OLA. We went to their event not too long ago, and they're a great group here nearby here downtown, and they do some great work. So, talking to them about possibly doing something in the future. There's just always these great, we're always doing things with Padres contra el Cáncer. And there's so many great organizations and charitable companies and groups out there that do so many great things. So we like to help. And so for us, it's very important. One of the things that I really enjoy now is that I can actually, I wasn't always available to do the interviews for the scholarship kids. Now I can be present and do the interviews myself. So that's one of the things that has been a lot of fun. That I was able to do a few, but I wasn't able to do it. Most of the times it was my wife and my brother-in-law doing them, so now I can be a part of them as well.
What is it like to be there, just have that personal touch, to be there face-to-face, eye-to-eye with these kids?
Well, that's the way we set up our scholarship side, is that we want to get to know the kids. We have that communication with them. If they need, we don't just say, here's a check and, good luck. We always tell them, and we've held our word on it, is if they need a tutor or they need help, or, if their grades start going down, we always send a letter like, what's going on, how can we help, because a lot of times transition, a lot of these kids will leave their home when they're 18 years old.
Right.
And I left my home when I was 18 years old, and I know how hard it is. So being able to be there as support on top of the financial help, but also being in there to support them so they can reach their dream of getting a college degree.
It takes a lot of guidance, because once they leave the nest, so to speak, I mean, it could be very overwhelming.
It can be, and a lot of these kids, you got to remember, they come from households that their parents cannot help them, with getting those plates or getting those things that they need at the dorm or things like that. And a lot of them, it's if they do work, they might be sending a little bit of their paycheck home to help with their 3 other kids at home, or sisters and brothers or whatnot. And so most of them are first generation, first kid in the family to go to college. And so a lot of these things are new for a lot of these kids, so you have to be able to be there and available to support in any way possible, not just through the education side, but maybe being able to give them a little bit of financial support on the side so they can get through the day and they can have the time to study, to be able to get their grades so they can continue on.
Well, you break it down in 3 platforms. Athletics. Let's talk about athletics first and how important it is. Obviously, it was very important in your life.
Yeah.
How important sports, competitiveness, and camaraderie, and all that, teamwork, and supporting one another.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, for me, sports and I'll always talk about how, sports keeps you healthy, which ties into the health part. You're active, you're out and about. And then on top of it, it builds a lot of life lessons, which is teamwork, gamesmanship, follow the rules, and there's so many different aspects. Learn how to lose, learn how to, overcome obstacles. So there's so many things that sports teaches you, and on top of it too, it keeps you off the streets. It makes you want to get good grades, because if you get good grades in school, then you can play in the sport. So it ties into every single aspect of life, and so sports is very important to be able to get the kids out and about. Through athletics, we like to help refurbish fields or give kids equipment. It's a lot hard to pinpoint a sport, so we like to be able to give the kids the ability to have the parks and the fields to be able to play. There's a lot of places where the fields are not healthy for them. They can roll ankles, they can hurt their knees, and then it becomes a detriment to the sport itself. So whenever we can find organizations that are out there helping refurbish fields, make sure to maintain fields, because if you have a really nice patch of grass that's flat, that's well maintained, you can play many sports out there. You're not stuck to one sport. So, and on top of it, equipment, because some of the sports out there are very expensive on the equipment side.
Do you think back to when you were a kid to relate to these types of things?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up playing soccer, basketball, football. I played every sport pretty much that I could get acquainted with. And that helped me become the most athletic person I can become, and which in turn helped me to become a better baseball player. So I don't believe in the thought of like you got to tell your kids at 10 years old that that's the sport they're going to play.
Yeah.
I really push everybody I talk to really tell their kids play every sport. You never know what sport they're gonna enjoy and be good at, but on top of it, they're gonna, every sport has a different movement that teaches you different things with the body and stuff.
If you weren't a Major League Baseball player, what professional sport would you have liked to have done?
Football. I was a quarterback in high school. And I loved
nice.
it, yeah. So that would have been it. If I would have gotten into golf earlier, I would have loved golf, but I didn't get into golf until after high school. So.
Okay. What's your handicap right now?
It's about a 10.
10? Not bad, not bad. All right. So you would have to give me about 8 aside.
Sounds good.
So, all right. You touched on education as far as scholarships. Why is it so important to you and your wife to use that as one of your platforms? Obviously, it's very, very important, especially in this day and age in society.
Yeah, I mean, we like to invest in our kids and the future of our kids and the future of us. I mean, it's our future, and the next generation is what's going to lead us in 10, 15 years. So it's very important to get into the education side and to be able to give these kids that are, I mean, they could be the next. You don't know who, as long as you give them the ability to do it. So. I think education is one of the most important things. If they're healthy, and I think education and athletics come hand in hand at the next level.
Like you were saying, you follow them, you ask them to reach out to you and your wife whenever they need the help or guidance.
Yeah.
Do you follow them all the way to graduation, and do you have stories that you can maybe share about the kids that make it to that point?
Yeah, so and on top of that too, we have we try to have we haven't had it for a year, but we're going to get back on it. We were doing every year community service events where we do as a community of Adrian and Betsy Gonzales scholars, get them together so they get to know each other, because a lot of them go to the same school and they don't even know it.
Right.
And so be able to do a community service event, a community service day, because it's important for these kids to also learn to give back themselves.
Sure.
And so. They get to know each other a lot through these events. 2 years ago, we went to the food bank, the LA food bank here,
right.
and we packaged all these different things for the homeless. And so that was the last event we did, but that was 2 years ago. And so we try to do one every year,
right.
And we've been talking about what event we're going to do next. And we've done stuff with Habitat for Humanity and clean up the park and clean up the beach, different things like that we like to do. And it's very important for us for them to know that they're a community as well, that they can support each other.
Yes.
But then for them to also know that we're there to support them. And so a lot of the kids that have graduated now come back and come to these events, and we get to see where they're at.
The Adrian and Betsy Gonzales Foundation is based in San Diego, but tell everybody about where you help. Obviously, it's not just in San Diego.
So we're not based in San Diego. We're actually based in we're with the California Community Foundation here in LA, just down the road from here, and then we're with the San Diego Foundation. In San Diego, and then we have different things in Mexico that we do as well. So we're LA, San Diego, and Mexico based. Okay,
and the third platform, focusing on health, and tell us why that's so important to you guys.
I mean, I think one of the greatest experiences that you'll have is visit a kid in the hospital. You have these kids that are going through such a hard time in their life, but you walk in, those smiles just brighten your day, and those are the experiences that really show you what life is all about.
Sure.
And I mean, some of the best moments of sharing, even if it's just a few minutes with one of those kids. So health is the most important. I mean, if a kid's healthy, then they can fulfill their dream of going to college and being able to play sports. But if they're not healthy and they have some sort of illness, it makes it really hard, obviously. And so being able to partner with these, whether it's the Children's Hospital or Padres Contra Cáncer, like I said, or any of these, we do a lot with in San Diego, not the Ronald McDonald, but the San Diego, anyways. Yeah, the Children's Hospital.
Okay.
And so there's you always want to look for those places. We know we've done things with autistic kids in the past. We've done just a little bit of wherever, because there's so many different areas that you
Sure.
can help. And so.
Obviously, there's so many things that you are doing with your wife, so many good things. And in the community of Los Angeles, we're going to have something very, very special next year. The All-Star Game's coming to Dodger Stadium. Is that some sort of event that you feel that you can reach out and do more in the community off a huge event like that?
I think a lot of people will step up. I think more than anything, it'll be a place where people can look to step up and bring all these different organizations that are doing great things into one place, and you know, everybody wants to be a part of it, and so it's a really great event to bring all the city of LA and all the people that are doing great things in the community to one place. So yeah, I mean, I think it can be a great place for some of these. You know, a lot of people can do dinners and events to benefit different charities, and so it can be definitely a great week of events.
Yeah. Of course, he is a 3-time All-Star, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner in Major League Baseball. Everybody misses you out on the field, but let's congratulate Adrian and his wife, Betsy, for all the great things they're doing with their foundation in the community. Adrian, tell everybody where they can go to get a little more information about the foundation.
Well, I think for the most part here in LA, the best place to go is to California Community Foundation.
Okay.
You know, you can call and ask about what we do in the community through them, or what other options they have as well, because they have a number of different ways you can help, and whatever you're passionate about, you can ask, and I'm sure they can guide you in the right direction. You know, we would love your donation, but we're not asking for donations. I know there's a lot of organizations that are in need of financial support. So if you do happen to call them, please ask them where do they need the most help, you know, and look towards that, and tell them how you want to help, and I'm sure they can guide you in the right direction.
I love athletes that do this in their communities, not just with Major League Baseball teams, but you know, NBA, NFL. Not everybody has to do it, so we congratulate you and your wife, Betsy, and good luck in the future. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everybody for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you so much.